The internet is doing too much again, and this time it's telling us everything that we need to know about fandom culture right now. Every single time a blurry, paparazzi adjacent, or fan caught photo of Harry Styles surfaces on the internet, it could be him walking his dog or just going grocery shopping with a little tote bag. The entire internet drops the same exact comment. Shh. Don't scare him away. People are literally commenting like they're going through the quiet section of a zoo, you know, where all the baby pandas are and you have to whisper. That's how they are acting about Harry Styles right now. People are commenting things like, speak softly, he scares easily. I saw another person stitch a TikTok where they said something like, if we all stay calm, then maybe he'll return next spring. And this is where we are. A grown man goes outside, is spotted briefly, and the internet acts like he is a skittish woodland creature who's about to scurry away. Don't spook him. And weirdly, this isn't just a meme. It's one of the clearest windows into what modern fandoms have become. So let's actually break down why Harry Styles disappearing has turned into such a cultural phenomenon. To talk about where we are now, we first have to go back to the beginning, back to the One Direction days. Now, if you were in the One Direction trenches, this may seem crazy to you, to be honest. The era of One Direction was unhinged, and it was unhinged internet behavior at its finest. One Direction came online in about 2010, and this was right when the social media ecosystem had sort of this perfect storm. Mind you, TikTok didn't exist yet, and so Stan Twitter was where it was at. And it's also crazy to think about because I don't even think we called it standing back then. I feel like that's something that became more normalized later, even though the concept of stan already existed. People didn't use it in their everyday language, but they were standing people. Twitter, which we know is now X, was this place where fandoms really were coming alive. And then between 2012 and 2014, you had Tumblr really peaking. And this is where the early version of edits started to happen, was Tumblr. You started to get the shipping discourse about who Harry Styles or any of the members of One Direction might be with, including potentially each other. You had essay-long theories. So now we get these theories that are all in these nice little snippets on TikTok. Back then, it was like reading a novel. YouTube was also filled with compilation videos and breakdown videos. And Instagram was mostly new, but you did sometimes get the grainy photos with fans or the really bad clips of different concerts. So the One Direction fandom wasn't just active, it was really architecting the modern day fandoms that we see today. And it was intense. People weren't just fans, they were truly investigators. So there were actual Twitter accounts, I remember, that were 1D alert. And they would just be posting like any time that they were spotted in public. There was definitely no privacy. There were fans that were tracking their locations and posting their flight plans. That's when you started getting the Louis and Harry conspiracy theory that they were actually in some kind of relationship, and there were breakdowns of exact moments and different interviews that helped to justify that theory. It was obsessed, but it was also organized and efficient, and the fans were like it's almost like we were seeing the early days of online investigation. It was just all focused on One Direction. And keep in mind, these fans didn't go away. They are still watching. They're just on TikTok now, and things are a little bit more visual, a little bit more concise, and also it's a bit more accessible for people who are maybe not directly in the fandom to come across this sort of content. So now let's go into Harry's solo era. Once Harry went solo, he sort of became this anti-overshare celebrity. He posts maybe once in a blue moon, and I always know when he posts because my sister always notifies me like, oh my God, Harry posts, because he never does it. He only does press when he's contractually obligated. And the most candid content that we ever get is him running a marathon or when he casually runs into somebody in London. Usually he's wearing a very low ball cap and like clearly is like, take my picture and let me get out of there. But here's the twist. Even though Harry barely posts, he went more viral than ever when he was on tour. Tour Harry was like a loophole into this entire private secret life that he had created. He doesn't give us a glimpse of his life online, so fans have to fill in the blanks through his concerts. And they treat the concerts sort of like this personal reality show where you get to see these little glimpses of his personality and who he is. And the rise of TikTok and all of the edits truly made this even more prevalent. So during his last tour, we saw clips of him tripping, interacting with his band, interacting with fans and fan signs. Chris Olsen had a really major moment where he was holding up a sign that said Daddy, and everybody knows that he's really obsessed with Harry Styles as well, and he's a part of the fandom. And Harry reacted to it, and those videos went viral, and then Chris Olsen capitalized on that in his own content as well as a part of his personality. So these clips weren't just concert moments. They were a form of character development for fans. People genuinely felt like they were getting to know Harry. It created this constant stream of unfiltered interactions and key moments that highlight some form of his personality, and fans became obsessed with it. And that made fans even more attached. So when the tour ended, it sort of felt like everyone's favorite show, their favorite reality show, just ended, right? And you're just sitting there waiting for the next season to drop. And that's where the forensic era begins. Because while Harry is living his quiet cottagecore life, just minding his business, fans are desperate for crumbs, and that's when the conspiracy theories and all of the ideas start to circulate again. So for example, when Harry shaved his head, everyone started wondering, oh, maybe he got plugs, right? He had this famous, beautiful hair, and all of a sudden it was shaved, must mean he's getting plugs. You started to see newly resurfaced Harry and Louis fan conspiracies. I even came across an Obama and Harry Styles fan conspiracy theory, which is so unhinged, it's hilarious. And fans aren't screaming, they're just analyzing. They're cross-referencing, they're resurfacing theories. It's almost like we're witnessing a true crime cold case, but he's just like chillin'. They're building narratives out of silence because that's what fandoms do when celebrities go quiet. And honestly, Harry's entire brand thrives off of this dynamic. The less he gives, the more his fans create, and it creates this mythology and this community around the lore. And that's when the internet really starts to get weird. After his tour ended, Harry basically dipped, went completely off-grid, which to be fair, he absolutely earned. That man was sprinting around stadiums, dancing every night, and he was on tour for several years, so he deserved a break. But if there's one thing that fandoms do not handle well, it is that silence. Especially silence from someone who was unintentionally feeding personality clips every night that he had a show. So when Harry went quiet, the internet did not panic. It pivoted, and it pivoted straight into comedy. And here is the explicit joke. Fans leaned into Harry's anti-publicity public image and started pretending like Harry was some kind of gentle, skittish woodland creature who will bolt if approached too abruptly. That's the entire bit. That's the meme. That's the format. It's everyone collectively agreeing that we have to speak softly so that we don't scare Harry off. If we move too quickly, we're going to scare him back off into hiding. And once you see this, you cannot unsee it. It is in every comment section. It is in every video. Anytime you see content resurfacing about Harry, it is about this. For example, I recently saw a TikTok where someone said, I was so drunk last night, I thought I ran into Harry Styles. And the top comment was, how did you convince him to get out of hiding? That's hilarious. Obviously, it wasn't him. Anytime a random person runs into him in the streets of London and he's, again, has his hat down low and everything, the top comments are always, be quiet, he scares easily. Nobody move, we'll scare him away. Walk softly, he startles. Is she bothering you, King? And shh. Don't scare him away. And everyone is in on the bit, even the casual fans. But it's also exactly what modern day fandoms do. They take their parasocial instincts and parasocial relationships with the person they're a fan of, and they turn them into a joke. And then they use that joke to become the new language of the community. So it's less of, oh my God, it's Harry. And it's more, we know we're being dramatic. We're going to laugh at how dramatic we're being, and it's going to be funny and ironic. The joke works because everyone is in on it. It's fandom self-awareness, and it's comedic gold. It's a way of acknowledging the obsession without sounding obsessed. Honestly, it's kind of hilarious, and I sort of love how mainstream it's become. Because the thing is, this whole, ooh, don't scare Harry away, he frightens easily, isn't just people being funny. It actually says something about how modern fandoms work today. Because the joke didn't just blow up because Harry disappeared. It blew up because of the way that fans use humor to talk to each other. And yeah, some of it is, of course, kind of dampening a fan's own intensity about their obsession. Like, if I make the joke first, no one can accuse me of being far too invested in this. But the real reason that the joke took over is because fandoms aren't really about the celebrity anymore. They're built around the community that surrounds the celebrity. And you can see that expand beyond just this joke. If you look at the way that the community talks to each other in the comment section, again, it's not just about Harry anymore. You'll see things like group meeting in the comments, or they'll say, he's so skittish this this season, like they're talking to someone else about him, or they're talking to each other again. Remember to be quiet. He's skittish. They're not reacting to Harry. They're reacting to each other, reacting to Harry. It's like a group chat energy, but in a public space. The meme becomes this shared language, and it's a way for fans to signal to each other, hey, I get it. I'm one of you. It doesn't matter if Harry sees it. It matters if everybody else sees it. And that's exactly why his silence hits differently. Because when you take an already tightly bounded fandom and you remove the celebrity from it, the fandom doesn't break down. It strengthens. They just get more imaginative and they start filling in the blanks themselves. Suddenly, every absence becomes a storyline. People are genuinely theorizing that he goes off the grid just to grow his hair back. And the myth making starts the moment he disappears. Harry isn't posting, so the fandom writes the script for him. Not because they necessarily think it's true, because the storytelling is the fandom. It creates the lore. His silence doesn't pause the community. It activates it. He didn't ask to become the internet's terrified woodland creature about to bolt. He just wanted a break. But the way the internet responds to his silence, with jokes and theories, and this oddly gentle don't scare him away energy, might actually be the most accurate snapshot of fandoms in 2025. People want connection. They want community. And they want something to collectively care about. Even if that something is just a man who just wants to run a marathon in peace. Because that's where we're at. Harry Styles goes silent for 5 minutes, and the entire internet creates an entire mythology around him. And it's kind of charming. For once, the collective bit isn't really harmful. It's playful. It's self-aware. It's actually encouraging people to leave him alone. And it's weirdly wholesome. Now, if you want to keep hanging out and yap with me about how the internet is just doing too much, hit subscribe because there is always something to talk about. And if you want the shorter version of my brain spirals, I'm on Instagram and TikTok too. No pressure, but if you like hanging out there, I'm over there too. All right, that's all I've got. See you at the next one.